Greetings ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the channel. Before I start with today's video, I would just like to announce that I have opened up a Discord server. It'll be in the description below if you guys want to join the server. I want to plan a lot of fun things to get the community involved with me for as long as I run this channel. So we're talking stuff like game nights, trivia nights, etc. So if you guys want to be involved in all that stuff, please be sure to join the Discord. Link again in the description. What happened on the 30th of Frostfall? Why exactly would I make a video about such a simple and almost trivial question? Well, here's the backstory. I was collecting footage for future videos on this channel, and I was just playing through the main story. After finishing the quest Diplomatic Immunity, where we discovered that the Thalmor knew nothing about the return of the dragons, Delphine suggests that we seek out Esbern, who was hiding in the Ratways in Riften, also being hunted by the Thalmor. Because of this, it's pretty obvious that Esbern would be hard to trust people, possibly even harder to trust than Delphine was. So one of the possible ways the Dragonborn can convince Esbern is to ask him what happened on the 30th of Frostfall. Now, you don't actually have to use them. You could just tell him you're a Dragonborn, or if you're persuasive enough, convince him that Delphine requested his help in the Dragon Crisis. However, if you decide to use this to convince him to join, he will simply acknowledge it, knowing it came from Delphine. However, he doesn't actually explain what happened on the 30th of Frostfall until after he is escorted to Riverwood. Well, I'm here to address that question. What exactly happened on the 30th of Frostfall, and why was it enough to convince a hunted man to join a stranger that came knocking on his door in the middle of the sewers? For those who dive into the lore of Skyrim as I do, there is a very clear answer to this question, and that is what we'll discuss in today's lore video. The 30th of Frostfall, or to give an exact date, the 30th of Frostfall, 171 of the 4th era, pretty much marked the start of the Great War, a conflict between the High Elves of the Aldmeri Dominion and a weakened empire led by Emperor Titus Mede II. Yes, that exact same Titus Mede II that was the final contract of the Dark Brotherhood storyline. You see, because of the declining influence of the Empire as a result of the waning days from the Septim Dynasty, the Empire just never saw the same power or influence they had during those days. So when the Mede Dynasty ruled Cyrodiil, they just couldn't live up to the dynasty of the Septims. It also didn't help that they were not Dragonborn, so that's already out of the window. At the same time, the Third Aldmeri Dominion was on the rise. By the time of this era, various provinces in Tamriel were not in good shape as many events were plaguing the lands. For example, the Dominion had conquered Valenwood and elsewhere. The Black Marsh was under Imperial rule, Morrowind was still suffering from the effects of the explosion from Red Mountain, and Hammerfell was plagued by infighting in their own lands. This left High Rock, Cyrodiil, and Skyrim as the only peaceful provinces in the continent. Unfortunately, when Titus Mede II inherits the throne of Cyrodiil, it was a very short time before he would be put in a really major test, not really giving him enough time to mobilize his troops and prepare for the war that would befall the Empire. Enter the 30th of Frostfall. By this time, the Thalmor had mobilized their troops in the conquered lands and were pretty much ready to launch a massive attack from Cyrodiil, but they had decided to offer an ultimatum to the new Emperor. The conditions would be as follows: massive tributes from the Empire, disbandment of the Blades, outlawing the worship of Talos, and giving a massive chunk of Hammerfell to the Dominion. A Thalmor ambassador had gone to the Imperial City and relayed this message to Emperor Titus, along with a cart holding a gift. The Emperor's advisors, citing the weakness of the Imperial army, had suggested accepting these demands, but Titus Mede refused. The ambassador then revealed the contents of the cart, showing the heads of every single Blades agent in Somerset and Valenwood. This was a very clear declaration of war, and thus the Great War began. Now, Esbern had heard of this news atop Cloud Ruler Temple in Cyrodiil, and the thought of having many of their brothers and sisters in the Blades be incapacitated is very horrifying news to hear, and is why they spent the aftermath of the war in hiding, as after the Empire signed the White Gold Concordat, the Thalmor were allowed to operate freely in Skyrim, with one of those missions being the assassination of Esbern and Delphine, two of the very few remaining Blades in Skyrim. So it's understandable that this event is very significant to the Blades, as it pretty much was the starting day of their downfall, from their glory days of defending the Dragonborn line of emperors to being hunted down after the end of the Septim rule. Now, of course, we all know how the Great War went and how it shaped Skyrim to its current political state. Or do we? I could go over the events of the Great War here, or I can cover it in a different video dedicated to the war itself. Now, if you want to see that video materialize, you can do so by leaving a like on this one if you enjoyed. If this video reaches 50 likes, I will drop whatever video I was doing at the time it reached it and cover the Great War in the next upload. Now, you know what happened in the 30th of Frostfall and why it was significant enough to get a runaway blade to trust Dragonborn when they came knocking on his door. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more lore content. And of course, join this Discord server if you want to hang out, talk more Elder Scrolls, and we can get the trivia nights going. And of course, just life in general if you guys want to. Other than that, this is Enzo signing out, and I will see you all in the next lore video.